She once made all of America believe in kindness, a woman who started millions of mornings with laughter and ended the day with a heartfelt message. 19 seasons, 294 episodes, 64 Emmy Awards, a media empire worth over $500 million. Even if you've never watched a single episode of her show, chances are you've seen the clips everywhere. YouTube, social media. Her presence was inescapable. But then the whispers began. And this time they didn't come from the tabloids, they came from the very people who had worked under Ellen. They spoke of yelling intimidation, racism and harassment, the kind of behind-the-scenes toxicity that cameras would never catch. This is Ellen DeGeneres, once the angel of daytime television, crafted and celebrated by Hollywood, only to be torn down by the same industry that built her up. Before she became the Ellen, the world knew she was just a nobody from New Orleans. She lived in a cramped apartment with her mother. After her parents divorced, her mom remarried, and Ellen endured a difficult childhood under the shadow of her stepfather. She did everything she could to survive, waiting tables, painting houses, typing for hire. But at night, she chased a passion that wouldn't let go: stand-up comedy in dingy bars, often performing for no more than 7 people and a cat. In 1989, Ellen caught the eye of Fox executives and was cast in a new sitcom called Open House. The show flopped. But 3 years later, ABC gave her a second chance with Lauryn Hill, where she played an eccentric nurse. That show was canceled after just 4 episodes. Still, ABC executives saw something unique in her brand of humor and decided to build an entirely new series around her personality. A few other shows came and went, none leaving much of a mark. But then came 1997, a groundbreaking moment in American television history. Ellen became the first lead character in a primetime sitcom to come out as gay. And it wasn't just scripted. 1 week later, she appeared on the cover of Time magazine with the headline, "Yep, I'm gay." She also appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show alongside her then-partner actress Anne Heche. "I would like to be able to control it," she said, "but you can never control the press." That courageous decision came with a cost. She lost her show, sponsors pulled out, major brands blacklisted her. But it also made her a living symbol of bravery, a cultural pioneer who laid the foundation for LGBTQ representation in mainstream media. Despite the backlash, ABC pushed forward with a 5th season of her show. This time, viewers followed a more confident Ellen, one who was dating openly, exploring love, and living truthfully. Still, the network began attaching parental advisory warnings to each episode, even though the content remained lighthearted and comedic. Things got worse. The show was criticized for being too gay, and not just by conservative voices, even parts of the LGBT community voiced discomfort. Religious groups protested, critics attacked, and then came the worst: a bomb threat directed at the show. Ratings dropped dramatically. From being a trailblazer in American television, Ellen suddenly found herself abandoned by the very industry that once celebrated her. Even her relationship with Anne Heche, considered one of the first openly gay celebrity couples in Hollywood, began to crack under the pressure. After 3.5 years together, they parted ways in 2000. Just when it seemed like everything was over, an unexpected opportunity appeared. Does this voice sound familiar? In 2003, Pixar cast Ellen as the voice of Dory, the forgetful blue tangfish in Finding Nemo. The role fit her perfectly: her quirky humor, her warmth, her unique cadence. And as we now know, the movie became a global sensation. It grossed over $870 million worldwide and brought Ellen back into the spotlight, this time forgiven by the public. That same year, she launched her own daytime talk show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show. The format was simple but effective. While other talk shows chased drama and controversy, Ellen brought something refreshingly pure joy. She danced with her audience, played games with celebrities, shared inspiring stories, and most notably gave away gifts. The show was a massive success. Ellen had discovered the perfect blend of celebrity interviews and heartfelt everyday human moments. And when a sitting U.S. president appears on your talk show more than once, it's a clear sign of influence and credibility. Ellen had reached the peak of cultural positivity. She even received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama, and the president himself got emotional. Over a 3-decade-long career, Ellen DeGeneres, through her wildly successful TV show, became a staple of American optimism. In every role she took on, she reminded us to be kind to one another. She wasn't just a host, she became a symbol of compassion. Celebrities felt safe around her. They knew Ellen wouldn't ask invasive questions. She gave cars to struggling families, college scholarships to deserving students, even homes to firefighters. She was called the most generous host in American television. Her signature phrase, "Be kind to one another," didn't just live on mugs and merch. For a while, it truly felt like the way she lived her life. Ellen wasn't just a talk show host. She became a fixture at major award shows, including hosting the Oscars not once, but twice. And in 2014, she broke the internet with one selfie, that iconic photo, surrounded by Hollywood A-listers taken live during the Academy Awards. Within hours, it became the most retweeted image in Twitter's history. Despite her outward image of kindness and humor, cracks in Ellen's polished persona began to show, most notably in how she treated her celebrity guests on live television. In 2008, rumors swirled that Mariah Carey might be pregnant. When Mariah appeared on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, instead of approaching the topic with sensitivity, Ellen turned the interview into a trap. She brought out a glass of champagne and pressured Mariah to drink. If she took a sip, she clearly wasn't pregnant. If she declined, it was seen as confirmation. Mariah, visibly uncomfortable, tried to dodge the situation, but Ellen didn't let up. Later, Mariah admitted that the experience made her feel incredibly awkward and hurt. The truth: she was pregnant but had chosen not to announce it publicly due to a previous miscarriage. And just weeks after the episode aired, she miscarried again. Then came America's sweetheart, Taylor Swift. This time, Ellen touched a nerve by grilling Taylor about her love life. Taylor had come on the show to promote a new album, but Ellen zeroed in on her dating history. When Taylor tried to change the subject, Ellen kept pressing, even pulling out a buzzer and asking her to ring it if she had dated the celebrity faces shown on the screen. They flashed images of famous men behind her. Taylor, clearly uncomfortable, said, "I don't want to press any of them because I'll get a bunch of angry emails." Ellen replied, "Oh, just press it. The audience loves this." The audience laughed. Ellen laughed. But Taylor sat frozen in her chair, visibly stiff, awkward, and stunned. This wasn't a harmless bit anymore. Ellen was stripping away a young woman's privacy on national television in front of millions. Taylor declined repeatedly, but Ellen didn't stop. And if these two examples don't quite paint the full picture of Ellen's insensitivity, there were plenty more. "When are you going to cut that hair? Have you ever gotten kicked out of a bar? I just turned 21. No one seemed willing to speak out against someone so beloved until Dakota Johnson showed up. This time, Ellen joked on air that Dakota hadn't invited her to her 30th birthday party. But Dakota didn't laugh. She calmly corrected her. "Actually, that's not true. You were invited." Ellen tried to save face. "Really? Who said I was invited?" Dakota fired back. "Ask Jonathan, your producer." The room fell silent. Ellen was speechless. She even mumbled to herself, "Huh? Why didn't I go?" Though no one seemed to know who she was talking to. That moment spread across social media like wildfire, a viral slap in the face to her carefully curated image of warmth. And just like that, Ellen's year of reckoning had arrived sooner than anyone expected. In 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic forced The Ellen Show to film from her home, things began to unravel fast. In a monologue, Ellen joked about being stuck in her $27 million mansion. "This feels like being in jail. I wear the same clothes every day, and everyone here is gay." Then came the cosmic backlash. Comedian Kevin Porter took to Twitter asking people to share their worst experiences with Ellen, promising to donate money to charity for every story he received. Thousands replied. The result: over 2,600 replies flooded in within a matter of days. It seemed like everyone who had ever crossed paths with Ellen in Hollywood had a horror story to share. The sheer volume of responses made it hard to believe that all of them were made up. Patterns began to emerge. Many claimed that Ellen had a standing rule: no one was allowed to look at her or speak to her. She never said thank you, not even to the people who brought her coffee or served her backstage. As for audience members, she ignored them completely unless she absolutely had to interact. But it didn't stop there. In July 2020, BuzzFeed News published a bombshell report. 11 former staff members accused the Ellen DeGeneres show of fostering a toxic workplace, one built on intimidation, discrimination, and a management style best described as "do what you're told or you're gone." One employee was fired after asking for time off to attend a family funeral. Another was dismissed after returning from a hospital stay due to an accident. Black employees reported being called by the wrong name for months and being laughed at with jokes like, "Well, who can tell two black people apart anyway?" But the most serious allegations were directed at three top producers: Ed Glavin, Kevin Lehman, and Jonathan Norman. Glavin was accused of slamming desks, shouting at staff, and making inappropriate physical contact with women. Lehman allegedly asked sexually explicit questions and groped male employees. Norman was accused of grooming, manipulating junior staff into inappropriate relationships. One former employee put it bluntly, "I used to believe in her 'Be Kind' slogan. Now I just see it printed on mugs and t-shirts like a cruel joke. She's only kind when the cameras are on." That bitter statement became the unofficial anthem of dozens of former employees. They said that in that workplace, if something bothered you, the best thing to do was stay quiet. One former DJ from the show recalled, "You could feel the tension and the fakeness backstage." Former producer Hernan Muscat didn't hold back. "She's a manipulative fraud. Great host, terrible boss." He recalled being warned on day one, "Don't talk to Ellen. Don't go near her office." Everyone, he said, walked on eggshells around her every single day. Off-camera, Ellen was a completely different person. She didn't engage with the audience, often sat silently by herself, and sometimes left the studio without saying goodbye. To the production team, she did what she needed to in front of the lens, but left the rest to the producers, who ran wild behind the scenes. Among them, Ed Glavin, one of the executive producers, was reportedly the enforcer, the one who got his hands dirty, so Ellen didn't have to. When the allegations surfaced, Ellen's response was, "I didn't know these things were happening." But the public wasn't buying it. The question they asked was simple and damning. How could you not know what was happening on the show that bears your own name? The scandal exploded like a bombshell, shaking the very foundation of Ellen's carefully built legacy. In response, she chose a defense strategy that has become all too familiar in celebrity culture: denial and plausible ignorance. In an internal email sent to her staff, she wrote, "Every day I walk into this show thinking we're creating a space of happiness and positivity. Clearly that didn't happen, and for that I'm sorry." On air, she addressed the situation by acknowledging that she's a working person, someone who has good days, bad days, and moments of anger. She added that she was dealing with her own personal issues and learning to work through them. "If you watch the show because you like it, thank you. And if not, well, you're still welcome." At first glance, her words seemed humble. But the public quickly saw through them. She wasn't taking full responsibility. The phrase "clearly that didn't happen" felt vague, the kind of language that dodges accountability in any institution, especially when the institution bears your name. This wasn't just any talk show. With hundreds of staff members, millions in production budget per season, and nearly 2 decades on air, the idea that Ellen didn't know felt either willfully ignorant or worse, knowingly complicit. And both options left viewers furious. From a show that once drew over 4 million viewers daily, the numbers plummeted, crashing down to just 2.2 million. The lowest in its broadcast history. Soon after, Ellen announced she would end the show following its 19th season. She insisted the decision had nothing to do with the scandal, and instead claimed she was stepping away because she no longer felt creatively challenged. But to the public, the message was clear: this wasn't an exit on her own terms, it was damage control for a brand that could no longer be salvaged. 2 years later, in September 2024, Ellen resurfaced with a stand-up special on Netflix titled Ellen DeGeneres, For Your Approval. For many former fans, this was her moment, a chance to face the past, show real remorse, or at the very least offer a sincere perspective on the downfall of her career. But instead of choosing honesty, she chose sarcasm. She made jokes. People still laughed, but something was missing. The warmth was gone. The depth wasn't there. And for many, it felt like betrayal all over again. You know what they say? A reputation takes years to build and seconds to destroy. When trust is gone, all that's left is suspicion. Not only did Ellen refuse to show contrition, she turned the very wounds she had caused into punchlines for her big comeback. And the audience rightfully didn't forgive someone who still refused to take ownership. For a woman once seen as a defining cultural icon of the 21st century, this wasn't just a failed return to the spotlight, it was proof that Ellen hadn't learned a thing from her fall. And that, for today's audience, was far worse than the original scandal itself.